Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Brian O'Brien here on 106.3 FM. This is the big one. We're waiting for just a few people to get online here. Got our nightly update, bringing that back off for the holidays, but back to normal. We'll let a couple folks get online, as I said, and we certainly appreciate everyone who is going to be joining us in the next few minutes. Again, it's the nightly update here on 106.3 FM on my Facebook page. Got several stories that have come up today, and we'd love to get your comments. I hope everyone's doing well. We got Randy Brock, we got Kathy Brock, Robert Miracle, Tabitha's online, Robert Daniels, the mayor's online from Pineville, several others. We'll let this get ramped up just a little bit. Again, this is our nightly update of news, and I won't be lengthy tonight. Got several stories, but I won't be too lengthy. I made the mistake of doing that when the Freedom from Religion Foundation story came up. So we're just going to keep it just as brief as possible. And if you hear or see just a little bit of sync on my voice and the actual feed, please forgive me in the process of trying to work that out. So let's go ahead and get things rolling here. Late this afternoon, Pineville Fire Department quickly put out a fire at an apartment complex on Oak Street in Pineville. Here is some of that, and we'll get that playing for you here so you can kind of see what they went through today. It was a fire on Oak Street. We had the Pineville Fire Department on scene, and let me get that lined up there for you. There we go. Still no word on what exactly caused the fire, but it could have been very devastating. You can see that at the bottom of the stairs there was a couch that was on fire, or a piece of furniture, and it spread over to the garbage can and then up along the staircase. So thank you to Pineville Fire Department for getting that all taken care of. Excuse the shaky video. This was supposed to be incorporated in our, I still don't have it right, incorporated in our feed, and it didn't want to come up. But thank you to the Pineville Fire Department. There was actually also a gentleman from the Bell County Volunteer Fire Department who was on scene, and a young man from the Middlesboro Fire Department happened to be passing by. They're still looking for the culprit as far as what the cause of the fire was. The cause of the fire is still under investigation. Now, it was reported initially that someone was home at the time of the fire, but everyone was actually out of the building. One woman and two police departments. Several charges going to a young lady that, according to a citation, was driving under the influence. Now, on Tuesday, December 26, Middlesboro police officer Jeremiah Johnson conducted a stop on a vehicle after the driver failed to use her turn signal, and it was apparent that she was intoxicated as she was driving. Identified as 32-year-old Christy Brooks of Tanyard Hill, and she turned into the Dairy Queen in Middlesboro from South 11th Street. She didn't signal, and upon contact, Officer Johnson observed Brooks with signs of intoxication. He performed standard field sobriety tests. She failed those tests, and during a search to incident arrest, she had in her possession 8 white round tablets identified as oxymorphone, a baggie of a clear rock-like substance believed to be meth, and a baggie with residue, along with 2 straws with residue. She was booked into the Bell County Detention Center. Now, in conjunction with her arrest, she was given other charges because Pineville police also filed charges yesterday on Brooks. In a press release that was given to us today, Pineville Police Department reported that on Tuesday the 26th, same day she was arrested in Middlesboro, early that morning at 5:40, management of Dairy Queen in Pineville called Pineville police, reporting that they had been broken into while closed for Christmas. Officer Jason Williams responded to the complaint. He began his investigation, and the evidence, and speaking to other folks that had information, the leads were developed that the suspect was Christy Brooks. She's an employee of Dairy Queen of Pineville, and she was charged while already in custody with burglary 3rd degree. Her charges from Officer Jeremiah Johnson are operating a motor vehicle under the influence of alcohol or drugs, first offense; possession of drug paraphernalia, first degree, first offense, drug unspecified; possession of drug paraphernalia, first degree, first offense, meth; and buying or possessing drug paraphernalia. She is currently being held on bond. Let's see. On December 24th at around 2:20, Knox County Deputy Sam Mullins responded to a Snappy Tomato Pizza in Corbin. This was regarding a delivery man that had been robbed. The delivery man had been robbed by knife point while making a delivery at Elaine Court Apartments in Corbin. The victim stated that a man wearing a scarf around his face, he pulled a knife and demanded money from him. The man with the knife ran away on foot after receiving a whole whopping $30 in cash. During that investigation, Mullins developed a suspect and had made several attempts to locate him. Today, Sheriff Mike Smith has announced that he was contacted by a person who wanted to meet with him and give him information that would solve the robbery. Sheriff Smith traveled to his location at Van Beber Apartments in Corbin, which is located adjacent to Elaine Court. He met with Joshua Wombles. While interviewing him, Joshua Wombles confessed that he was the person who robbed the delivery guy. Also showed Sheriff Smith the location of the knife. Smith recovered the knife used in the robbery. 21-year-old Wombles is of Flatlick. He was arrested and charged with robbery first degree. He was also wanted on a Whitley County bench warrant for failure to appear on charges of improper registration, no insurance, and contempt of court. He is currently in the Knox County Detention Center. Christmas, 11:45 at night, while patrolling on D.R. Parker Lane, Deputy Mikey Ashurst arrested 32-year-old Ricky Blankenship of Corbin on a Knox County arrest warrant for wanton endangerment first degree, fleeing or evading police first degree, reckless driving, disregarding a stop sign, and hindering prosecution or apprehension second degree. The charges were the result of a Corbin police officer, Corporal Jeff Hill, investigating a shoplifting complaint at the North Corbin Kroger on December 19th. Ricky Blankenship was also wanted on a Laurel County bench warrant for failure to appear on wanton endangerment second degree and terroristic threatening third degree charges. Deputy Ashurst also arrested 37-year-old Fred Phipps of Lilly, Kentucky on a Campbell County bench warrant for failure to pay the fine on a public intoxication controlled substance charge. Both of the men were lodged in the Knox County Detention Center. Fred Phipps has since been released. And a story that actually has something to do with one of our friends here at the radio station, a family member of his, as a matter of fact. The Mountain Advocate is reporting that after being arraigned for kidnapping on May 26th, 5 pre-trial conferences and a 6th scheduled for January 5th of next year, a trial date still has not been set for the man accused of kidnapping Douglas Bub Middleton. Now, if you remember this, earlier in the year, 21-year-old James M. Davis allegedly kidnapped 23-year-old Douglas Bub Middleton. This was from his home in Artemis on February 15th. Middleton was located 17 days later. Once again, that's 17 days later. There were, I don't know how many people out searching for this young man. Come to find out, he had been put into a shack in a wooded area. He was suffering from multiple injuries, including severe frostbite, which led to the amputation of his legs. Now, Bub Middleton is actually the nephew of our very own Eric Johnson here at the radio station. Eric's mother and the rest of his family had been out for days looking for this young man. I was telling Eric today that in law, there's this thing known as acquiescence. And normally, the prosecution side can get 3 continuances, which is acquiescing, meaning that the prosecutor said, yeah, sure, we know you need it to be continued. And then usually the defender can also say, well, you know, we understand that you need time to prepare as well. So normally it's 3 per side. So that's 6 acquiescences after this one coming up on January 5th. If they can't get it together then the judge can say, we're setting a court date and we're taking this to trial. Moving on, a Baxter man is facing multiple charges, including possession of methamphetamine and theft of a firearm after allegedly being found in the possession of the items by police. The Daily Enterprise is reporting that 23-year-old Tyler D. Middleton was arrested Tuesday by Laurel City Police Chief Mike Lunsford. Lunsford received a complaint concerning a pair of men walking on the railroad tracks and acting suspiciously. Lunsford and Everett's Assistant Police Chief Owen Noe approached the 2 men, and Lunsford immediately recognized Middleton. Lunsford was aware that he had active bench warrants from both Harlan Circuit Court and Harlan District Court. Lunsford placed him under arrest, and he later discovered a pill bottle wrapped in black tape in Middleton's possession. It contained a crystal substance and a piece of a small orange-colored pill. Middleton told police the substances were methamphetamine and Suboxone. Also, a .45 caliber Ruger revolver was allegedly found inside a bag in Middleton's possession. The handgun was later verified as having been stolen from a loyal residence. Middleton was also in possession of 3 pocket knives and a box of razor blades. Lunsford reported that a pipe suspected of being used for methamphetamine was sitting on the railroad tracks close to where Middleton was sitting. Now, Middleton was charged with first-degree possession of a controlled substance, meth, public intoxication by a controlled substance, excluding alcohol, possession of drug paraphernalia, third-degree possession of a controlled substance, first-degree burglary, theft by unlawful taking firearm, and carrying a concealed weapon. He was lodged in the Harlan County Detention Center. Joshua Lee Woods, age 38 of Flat Creek Road, was arrested 2 days ago, December 26th, at a Phoebe Fork Road residence. Why is that important? Well, a Whitley County grand jury returned an indictment against Wood relating to a fatal wreck that occurred during the 2017 Labor Day weekend. The Whitley County Sheriff Department is reporting that he's now facing charges of second-degree manslaughter and first-degree assault. He was first arrested after wrecking his vehicle on Flat Lick Road while believed to be under the influence, resulting in the death of Laura Carter and injuring her father, James. He was charged with leaving the scene of an accident and DUI. While he was attempting to locate Woods, Deputy Jonas Saunders saw that the indictment was returned 2 weeks ago, and he and Brandon Pruitt located Woods at the Phoebe Fork residence, along with 57-year-old Terry J. Moore, who had a warrant for his arrest. He was wanted for receiving stolen property over $500 relating to an ATV theft. Both men were lodged without incident in the Whitley County Detention Center. All right, so there's the major part of our news tonight. Let me check and see who's online with us tonight. Got a good selection of folks. There's Henry Root. Here's what he says. This nightly broadcast is a good idea. Lets people get the news and other community events they don't otherwise or wouldn't hear. No problem. Glad to do it. Several folks online with us tonight, like Betty and Cletus, Steve, Melissa, Devonna, Tabitha. We've got Sally Ann, Cindy Cox. We've got, I'll try and name people as I can. I got two other good news stories coming up. Lisa, Josh, Darla, Myra, Judy, Cindy, Jamira. We've got Maria, Melissa, Lorene, Donna Miller. That was very heartbreaking. Yes, it was. Cindy, Danny. We've got Jeff online. Wanda. I'm skipping over just a couple. Wade from Florida, because we got extra folks coming in here. But hello to everybody who is online tonight. It'll take me most of the broadcast and mention everybody by name. You're welcome, Kathy. Hello, Aaron Selfridge. How are you? All right, so let me get to the couple of good news stories very quickly, okay? Well, kind of lied to you. This is not necessarily a good news story. It's you've got to pay attention story. How's that? Okay, well, getting into a nice warm car in the morning may be nice. WKYT is reporting leaving your car running just to warm up is illegal in Kentucky. What? Police say it's also bait for thieves. Now, research suggests that nearly 50% of all theft cases are due to driver error. Despite warnings to the public, Officer Kevin Grimes with the Nicholasville Police Department says officers use or see the same scenario playing out every year. The department often issues citations to offenders, hoping to teach them a valuable lesson. However, it's been pointed out to me that police officers, not cracking on police officers, but police officers often leave their vehicles running, and that's in case they get a call so they can take off. Well, another reason to avoid running your engine is because it's not suitable for your vehicle. Experts say letting a car sit for idling an extended period of time means that you consume more gas than is necessary. You also reduce the mileage in your vehicle's overall performance. According to experts, which I'm not one, so I'm not going to comment, experts say a car engine shouldn't be left idling longer than a few seconds if possible. Have you been around here when it's freezing outside? Yeah, the thing is, in the morning when it's like 2, 3, 4 degrees, I'm wanting my vehicle to warm up a little. Hopefully, I won't have anybody in my driveway with red and blue lights saying to turn it off. All right, here's your good news story. It's just one, right? Yeah, it's one. I'll make it as quick as possible. December 20th, check this out. Campbell County Sheriff's Deputy John Miner was working second shift in Zone 4, which is in La Follette, okay? It was the night of the winter solstice, the longest night of the year, as well as a new moon. And the drizzling rain made the night much darker, so it's foreboding, so you get that, right? On a whim, Miner decided to stop by an old friend's house, and that decision would alter the course of more than one life. Richard Jones is a friend of Miner's father. They've known each other since Miner was a little boy. Jones used to take him hunting. December 20th, he and his family had been down with a stomach bug for a few days. According to Miner, Jones's daughter, Brittany McMahon, was 33 weeks pregnant. Here's the important part. 33 weeks pregnant. And when Miner saw her, he knew she was in serious distress. Brittany said, I hadn't been feeling too good when I had that stomach bug. I was starting to cramp, and then I saw blood. It was just after that moment that Minor walked into the house. He told Brittany and her husband Aaron that she needed to get to the hospital ASAP, okay? Brittany had already made a call to a family member and didn't want to go in an ambulance, but Minor recognized the urgency. He said he put her in his car in the front seat and was taking her to La Follette, but she had to go to Jellicoe. Her husband Aaron came as well. They turned up US 25 and were almost to Morley when Brittany said she needed to stop because she wasn't feeling well. After a few moments, Minor asked Aaron to go check on her. Minor said, I think she's having a baby. Now, he was right. I can see the head. Minor went into crisis management mode. He got Brittany comfortable and told Aaron to be prepared to support the baby while he talked them through it. He called dispatch and let them know he was stepping up to emergency traffic. He proceeded to pick up speed through the winding roads, and he went through a series of questions and directions. First, he checked on Brittany, who was losing a frightening amount of blood. Next, he connected with dispatch, followed by directions for Aaron, and the emergency lights flashed through the mountain road as he went through his cycle repeatedly. Now, get this, they're on their way to the hospital. Here comes baby. Brittany was in shock. In my experience, she was slowly fading. I was really concerned about the bleeding. Couldn't stop it. He got into a zone of trying to keep everyone from dispatch to Aaron in the loop of what was going on. I was trying to stay as calm as possible, according to Minor. Aaron was doing great, but I was coaching him. It was only a matter of minutes before the baby was born. But the baby wasn't breathing. I asked if it was breathing, and Aaron said no. I thought I was going to have to give it CPR, but I told him to stick his finger down the throat and clear the airway. That worked. Brittany had lost a lot of blood, though. I talked to her, tried to keep her engaged in the conversation. He called Jellicoe Community Hospital to let the medical staff know the baby had been delivered, and the doctors and nurses were all ready to meet them. Once baby and her mother were there, stabilized, the baby was transported to the neonatal intensive care unit at a hospital in Knoxville. Brittany had to stay behind for treatment. Now, Minor said, I served 7 tours in Iraq, and that was a new one. Minor isn't quite sure why he even stopped at their house. I have an idea, God, but that's just me. Looking back, he said, the Lord just put him on my heart. I've been there maybe twice in the past year, but at that time they were just on my mind. It was a wild ride on a night to remember, according to Brittany. She said we couldn't have done it without John. If it wasn't for John, Aaron would not have known what to do. Now, Brittany has 2 other children, but never expected labor like this one. The stomach bug had caused her to become very dehydrated, which is what caused the early labor. Minor has 2 other children as well and was present at their births, but not on a winding road. As he left the hospital, they asked him for his middle name. He told them it was James. Russell James McMahon was 5 pounds, 17 inches. His birth certificate says he was born in a Campbell County patrol car, December 20th at 10:20. He and his mother are home and doing just fine. That's your news update. I appreciate everyone who is tuning in tonight. Thanks for being here. It is extremely cold outside. If you have outdoor pets and you do not have adequate shelter for them, I understand. But if there's any way you can bring those pets in tonight, please do. We're looking at single digits again. And about 3 or 4 nights from now, we're looking at single digits. We're in the double digits for tonight, but single next week. You understand, right? Also, and I'll leave you with this. As I told the folks on Tradio today, we have a lot of folks who are elderly. They don't want to ask for help. And oftentimes we do stories of folks who have passed away because they froze to death. So please don't let that be this year. Unfortunately, we already did have one. CNN News was, not that I use them for a source, but it did flash up in my feed. In a country far, far away from here in China, a child was left outside, part of punishment, and she was put in a metal container, and unfortunately there was nothing to keep her warm, and she passed. I hope to God we don't have any stories like that, but please, even if you have to check on an elderly neighbor who may be just a little upset that you're checking on them, do it anyway. You could be saving someone's life, okay? God bless you. Have a great night. Glad to be here. We'll try and keep this going as long as is humanly possible, and I need to shave. Good night. You guys take it easy. We'll talk to you tomorrow morning on Tradio, okay? Thanks for listening to 106.3 FM, The Big One, and